Bwaaa!
Bwaaa trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. Cat drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey everybody, welcome to Bwaaa, King of the Hill podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, we got a couple of emails we're going to cover today.
Yeah, we got a couple of them.
A couple of premises.
Couple of premises, yeah.
Yeah.
I like this first premise.
Yeah, please, go with it.
Okay, so this is from Super ASDKE. Super, it looks like he just went on the keyboard and whatever hit came out. So Super, I'll just call you Super. Yeah, we'll call you Super. So Super's email here, his premise touches on vehicles. So he goes, he, she, or they, what do you think the characters will be driving in the reboot? So it says here, Hank has owned 4 red trucks. He had a red Ford car, and then he had a purple rental vehicle.
Yeah, sure.
Peggy had the Buick.
Right.
And then close to the end of the series, which I don't even remember this, she gets a black convertible.
I remember that because she goes and buys it.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
The whole episode's about her going and buying the car.
Like I said, like it gets really spotty for me after like season 6 or 7.
Sure.
Dale has the Buggabago, which is like a 90s, it's probably like a 90s Dodge work van. He says Caravan here, but I don't think they're called Caravans. I don't think the work vans were called Caravans.
Well, a Ford Caravan, I think, is what he's talking about.
Yeah, but it's just like a Dodge box truck, like a 2500, like a 2500 Dodge Ram van or whatever that is.
Yeah, whichever.
So he's got the Dodge van. Boomhauer, he has the 69 Dodge Coronet. And then he also had the Mustang. Remember that they find the jackets in.
Was that the one in the quarry?
The one in the quarry.
Yeah.
Khan has the K-van.
Yeah.
The Japanese K-van.
Sure.
And then he has the SUV that gets ran over by a tank.
Oh, that's right.
And then when he goes redneck, he has an El Camino. When he goes to
I
that
forgot
redneck,
about the El Camino.
the fist fighting phase, and he has
yeah.
like broke down cars in the driveway and stuff like that. And he drives around an El Camino.
Yeah.
And Lucky has pretty truck, which I'm just gonna say it's a Chevy truck. He's got an old Chevy truck.
Well, it's a big old lifted truck too.
Yeah,
it's
big
a
old
big old sucker.
Lifted Chevy truck or something. And then, of course, Cotton has the Cadillac truck. So his premise is Cadillac car. Sorry,
Cadillac car.
His premise is: do you think Hank will finally buy a Cadillac like Cotton, or will he still continue to drive Ford trucks?
Yeah.
What do you think Bobby, Connie, Joseph are driving?
Then Redcorn's got the Jeep.
Yeah,
he's got a
Redcorn's
Wrangler.
got a Jeep.
He's got a Wrangler. Yeah.
And it says here maybe Joseph will have a Jeep like John Redcorn.
Yeah.
Bobby and Hank were working on that car Hank found at the dump at one point in the series too. So this is my take on it. I think Hank, as most retirees do, buys a Cadillac. I don't think he buys a Cadillac car. I think he goes and buys a Cadillac truck.
Like an Escalade? Like one of the SUV things, or I don't know what the Cadillac trucks are called. Those always strike me as weird.
They're
anyway.
Escalades. They are Escalades. They're called Cadillac Escalade EXT.
Okay.
It's where it's the 4-door pickup.
It's got that weird
with the
thing on the back
with like
of
the
it.
and it's got like a bed. It's got like the bed's probably like a.
So you think he's driving a Cadillac
bed.
truck?
I think he's driving a Cadillac truck, and if he's not driving a Cadillac truck, he's driving one of the Lincoln Mark, whatever they are, trucks. Or I just don't see him driving I don't see him sticking with Ford. I feel like what's happened is in his mind something has jaded him with Ford, because there has been a big move away from people buying Fords and Chevys and stuff like that. There's a lot more Nissans on the road, trucks. There's a lot more the Nissan Titans and the Toyota Tacomas and the Toyotas and stuff. So I think that Hank I don't think he bought American, because there is no buying American anymore. You can't buy a car that's completely made in America. There's parts that are being made all over the world.
So here's my take on it. I think that there was a big car bailout. The bailout by all the automakers. The U.S. government gave them a bunch of tax rebates and bailed them out when they were in real trouble. Ford was the only one that didn't take the money. So I think if we're looking, how many years in the future are we supposed to be for them? 10, 15?
10 or 15, I would imagine. That's going to be
so we're not up to nowadays. If we're not up to nowadays, then I think maybe he's still got a Ford.
I think he's still driving Ford.
Yeah, I think he's still driving a Ford. I think because in his mind, it's still an American company. They didn't take the government money. That would be my reasoning behind it, that he stuck with them because they're the only one that didn't take the money. The only reason I know that is because when the big auto industry thing happened, I bought a bunch of car stocks. And the only one I didn't get anything good out of was Ford because they didn't take the money.
Yeah.
Everybody else went through the roof. So
through the roof.
They did. Yeah, they went through the roof. And so we did okay on those. But anyway, that's why I think I think that's why Hank is still driving a Ford truck.
Okay.
Now, if only about 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, they started making the small trucks again.
Oh, like you're talking about like the Chevy Colorados and the newer Ford Rangers.
Well, even the Ford Ranger,
came back.
But at that time, if we're only fast forwarding 15 years, then those weren't being made yet again. So that's what tells me maybe if he's still driving a mid-sized truck, that maybe it's a foreign one.
Okay.
That's my reasoning.
Like a Tacoma or something like that. Like a Toyota Tacoma.
That's my only reasoning behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or he goes through some type of midlife crisis or something like that. Well, not midlife. He goes through retirement and goes and gets like a classic. Goes and gets the Cadillac car his dad had.
It could be.
Maybe his dad's passed and now he's in his older age and he's sitting there thinking about his dad and he's
maybe Buck died and left it to him. The one with the horns on it.
Maybe that. Maybe that.
That could be a thing.
Buck died, and in his will, Hank got it all.
That's what I'm saying. He may have Strickland.
Because he didn't have.
He ain't
no
gonna
kids.
leave it to the son.
Well, because the son was an illegitimate son, wasn't he? He wasn't any.
Yeah.
He wasn't a son he raised particularly.
He's not gonna leave it to him. No, unless he left it to Debbie.
Yeah.
He could have left it all to Debbie. That could be a thing. Yeah.
I think he gives it to Hank. I think if anybody gets anything, especially the business.
Now, Peggy, I think she's driving one of those little Fiats. One of those little tiny
That's
Fiats.
what I was going to say. One of them little, and it's a red one too. Just a little red 2-door Fiat.
Yeah, a little bitty car.
Or she's an early adopter for the electric vehicles.
She could be. She could be driving a Prius. Yeah.
And
Hank just bitches about it the whole time.
Well, no, because Prius came out the year the show ended. 2009, I think, is when the Toyota Prius came out. So I don't even see her in a Prius. I see her in something like
a Leaf,
like a Chevy Spark.
Yeah, maybe
like one of them little Chevy Sparks.
Could be
with a Q.
I think it's a little. I think it's a little car.
Whatever it is, it's like a little 2-door, like smart car.
Now I think
one of those things.
I think Bobby is probably driving some sort of sedan. I don't see Bobby in a truck. I don't see Bobby in a tiny
2002 Honda Accord.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Bobby is driving a little sensible car because I believe that Bobby. I believe that Bobby and Connie are together.
Well, it's always like it's always them little silver cars.
Yeah,
it's like whether it's a Nissan or a Honda, it's like just them little silver.
Make a lot of
like
them
the
in
Accord.
silver.
Like you couldn't pick it out of a 100 cars.
And not only that,
it's so nondescript.
You can put 300,000 miles on that engine too. You know,
oh, easy.
So that's
easy.
I think he's driving a used Honda Accord or something like that.
Yeah, like a 2002 Honda Accord.
Now Dale. I think he's still got the Bugabego. I think it's the same damn one.
I think it's the same Bugabego too, and
I think he's replaced the engine twice.
It looks rough. I think it looks way rougher.
Yeah.
I think the
bug's missing some legs,
and there's like a big hole in the fiberglass thorax of the
animal. It just
animal.
Smokes like crazy now.
Yeah,
it burns oil like
I
nobody's
think so
business.
too. And when he starts it's got a miss. It sounds awful. Yeah, lifter's ticking, leaking oil.
Boomhauer.
He's got to drive down the road with jugs of water to put in it every so often to keep it cool.
Boomhauer, I think, is driving a Spider.
A Spider?
You know, it's one of those motorcycle cars
Yeah.
with the 2 wheels in the front and the one in the back.
One of them 3
and
wheels.
he's just cool as shit riding around on that thing.
I think so. Or them Sidewinders, isn't that what they're
Yeah,
called? Them
yeah.
side by they're like them side by side.
He's driving something
things.
weird, yeah. Yeah.
Or if not something weird, I feel like he still has the 1969 Coronet though.
Oh yeah,
like
he
the
absolutely.
black and orange
he
car.
He may have a new Challenger or something too, though.
I think that Coronet's parked in the garage, and I think it's his garage is filled with stuff, and it's just kind of like got a tarp over it. It just sits there now.
Yeah.
And actually, I think what he drives is one of those. They're like learner motorcycles. What are they called?
He could be driving a state trooper vehicle too, though.
Yeah, he could be driving a state vehicle.
Because now we know
he could drive anything really.
So.
He's the kind of guy you could see in a wide variety of vehicles. He might be in a black Lincoln.
What about Bill?
Bill's not known to own a
Bill's
vehicle.
Bill's a tough one to pick out. He's got that vehicle that he puts on his pork pie hat and
he's
gets
got that
in
little
and goes
sedan,
places. Yeah.
I don't know. I think Bill reminds me of this weird old creepy dude that used to substitute, and he went to the church that I went to too when I was a kid.
And he's got a van with no windows.
Well, that guy drove the same car from like
free candy on the side.
Well, he was a single guy who was just really odd. And he wasn't. I didn't really get any like thought he was gonna like sexually abuse anybody vibes, but it was like. If there was anybody that was going to do it in the room, he just felt like he might be the guy. I don't want to.
He just wants you to come to his house.
Weird. I don't know. He was just.
He wants you to
odd.
come to his house so he can watch you play piano.
But he drove this
something weird like that.
Yeah. This big, huge.
Take off your shoes, son.
Square body yellow Buick.
Yeah.
And he drove it for ever. And then one day I just see him walking. So I think that's what Bill's in the situation is. He had that same car for 30 years and it gave out, and he didn't really have any money to get another one. So Bill's just
hoofing it.
Geriatric guy walking around Arlen. Yeah.
All right. That makes total sense.
I could see him in the pork pie hat with like a tan, not a trench coat, but like mid-thigh coat, and just shuffling around Arlen with bags of groceries on his way home.
Yeah, very much so. I can see that as well. He's very, very sweaty.
Very
no matter
sweaty.
what he does, he's very sweaty.
Very sweaty.
All right. Well, thank you again for the email. Give me their name again. Super?
Super.
That's what we're calling them?
Yeah, Super.
All right. I've got a second email here. This is from Kurt Davis. And Kurt signs it. He works for Danny Davis Electrical Contractors.
Oh, wow.
So he says, hey, guys, I wanted to reach out and say how much I'm enjoying Bwaaa. Thank you very much. I've listened to several of the other King of the Hill podcasts, and you guys are my favorite. Thank you again.
Thank you. Appreciate that, buddy.
I think the reason you're my favorite is the insight into the Texas culture and references. I grew up and still reside in East Tennessee.
Yep.
Go Titans. So a lot of the Texas stuff from the show was lost on me. So it's really nice to see the show through Texas lenses. Thank you. That's our approach.
Yeah, it is our approach.
I did have a specific question or problem I'm hoping you can help me solve. You may want to wait until it comes up in the 6th or so season, but there is an episode in which Bobby is sent to a new youth group and meets Pastor K. I love that episode.
You talking about the skating episode?
Yeah, and the Satan sucks shirt.
Satan sucks.
Yeah. I'm sure you recall this one. My question is, I was once told that Pastor K, or Kevin, as Pop refers to him as, is loosely based on Kevin Young, the lead singer for local heavy Christian group Disciple. Since their first record in 1999, they actually are fairly successful in the Christian music world. I don't know that we can ever know the answer without asking the judge himself, but it's fun to think about. It's important to me because this was my scene growing up. I went to a lot of Disciple shows through middle and high school and even had a Christian rock band of my own. After high school, I started playing in bars and rock clubs doing secular music. I guess I got tired of trying to make Christianity better, and all I was doing was making rock and roll worse. Can you guys,
self-awareness. I love self-awareness.
Can you guys shed any light on this theory? Thanks again for what you do. All the best, Win Tanya.
My theory is you're probably right. I know nothing about this guy. But,
I don't know anything about him either.
I just Googled him and I look at the time frames for all of it.
Yeah.
Your speculation is probably just as good as anybody else's on that. I mean, I see the plausibility of it. Their early releases were between 92 and 98. 2000 or episode or season 6. We're on season 3 and it's the year 2000. So they would have came in about 2003.
Oh, wow. This guy.
So that episode would have been about 2003, 2004. So yeah, it's very. It was that. I don't even really think it had anything necessarily to do with maybe disciple specifically, but it had to do with that era of youth groups. Youth groups, rock music was huge. Youth groups were trying to find a way to reach the youth at this point, because at this point it's the beginning of the 80s was the beginning of the distancing of kids and youth groups. Kids started to distance themselves from church a lot more at that time, and youth groups they struggled now too, in a sense, in small towns anyway. So it's this effort to try to keep kids coming to church. So rock is big. This is like the beginning of like punk and all that. Not the beginning of it, but the beginning of the height, like the height of its I don't know, mainstream popularity, because you don't get Blink 182 and all that. This is the era of that when it's all starting. So that pop punk, radio punk stuff. So I feel like that's what this that episode he's talking about really is. I know as a youth in Texas in that time frame, the youth minister that taught us, taught me specifically. Shout out to him. He's a really good guy. His name's Vernon. He was a fan of South Park and all these things and stuff.
Sure.
And he knew that to reach us, he had to relate all of these things, pop culture, to things that we were going through as kids and what we were watching and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he tried, and he related all these things to us. And there was another youth minister. I was already 19 at this point, so it wasn't really like any kind of outreach to me. But he had talked to me because I struggled with it at that point, Christianity, and realized I was coming to the point to realize that it's just something I would never be able to subscribe to.
Right.
And in struggling through that, I talked to him about it, like, hey man, how do I, approach this? He goes, you don't have to believe in God. He said, that's okay. And that's a youth guy, like somebody who's supposed to be not doing that. Yeah. And he was telling me how he found God using mushrooms and all this stuff.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know. I feel like that's what that all is. It's just like trying to reach the next generation.
It definitely is. Where I went to church, we were damn near Pentecostal. Like they did not believe in Christian rock or anything like that. It was all hymns and stuff. And then I ended up going to a Christian school, which, by the way, quick announcement, the Christian school that I went to is finally closing their doors.
Yeah, I saw that.
I win. You
outlasted.
That's right.
I outlasted the Christian Academy. Did you go there for your whole school life?
No. I went
just like your early years.
Well, I went regular school first through fifth. And then they pulled me out and put me in something called Open Door, where
Church of the Open Door.
Yeah, well, it was Open Door Christian Academy at the time. Yeah, and then we ended up downtown in that old church there. And the thing I always say about Open Door is they had this thing where we would learn, but we had to sit in these little cubicles, so we couldn't interact with each other. If we needed to ask a question, we raised a flag like you were at Poncho's, a little Christian flag on top, and they would come by and ask us what we needed. None of them were actual teachers.
Oh, they were just minders.
Yeah, and so we had these pamphlets that we learned out of, and I'm not even kidding anybody. I've probably said this before because I've said it a million times. Math would be like Jesus plus the 12 disciples equals 13. So that's
awesome.
Oh,
I wish you could get a hold of some of that stuff. Does your mom keep any of your old schoolwork? That would have been great to have. That would have been great to look at.
And so then I transitioned from there over to Parkview because Parkview was a little cooler. Because they had a football team.
And they actually had teachers.
And they had teachers, one of which I threw a desk at one time. And I got kicked out of Parkview twice. And so my legacy in high school was not great. It wasn't fun for me. I didn't enjoy it. It was too rigid. And I never, sitting here listening to you talk about youth pastors and stuff, and I knew a few, but I don't think I ever had one. I don't think I had a youth pastor, really. Like, we were just expected to sit through regular church.
Yeah, no, we had youth pastors. Well, we had kids' church, too, when I was real little. When I was like 6, 7, 8 years old, there was like the kids' church.
We had kids' church,
I didn't ever get to go.
Really?
Because I was wild as hell.
Yeah.
And I didn't, like, if you took me out of the sanctuary, I didn't care. I didn't want to learn what y'all were doing. I wanted to play, So they would leave me in the sanctuary with this older couple. They actually used to teach my dad in school.
Oh, wow.
And I used to sit with them, and he would bring me astronomy magazines. So I would just sit there and read astronomy magazines, or his wife would bring like a Christian coloring book, like activity coloring book.
Sure.
And I would sit in the sanctuary while they were giving the big sermons, and I would, I didn't ever I would just sit there with that older couple. Actually, he would go on to take me out to. I would go out to their house with him in Chalk Bluff, and he had a telescope, and he would show me and my dad would go out there sometimes, me and my little brother, and he would show us the sky and stuff, show us the stars and all that. My love for astronomy came from sitting in a church with not being able to pay attention to everything, so they would give me an astronomy book to read instead. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's based on this Kevin guy. I do know that half of his head is shaved, which is a weird look. Yeah. He apparently is still going strong, because I'm looking on Instagram, and like he posted 3 days ago. I mean, dude he gets a lot of likes, so I don't know. I do know that is one of my favorite episodes, though. It's just because it harkens back to kind of my experiences also. I did have a friend that was very into Christian rock and punk and stuff like that, and I always thought the music was
still
terrible.
blows my mind.
Yeah,
people send.
Oh yeah.
People send us fucking emails.
We can't.
It's crazy.
Kurt, thank you so much, and we'll refer back to it whenever we get to season 6. But
yeah, it's just crazy. It still blows my mind that we get emails from people.
Keep sending them, guys. Keep sending them. Yeah, we love it.
New people
love it.
Joining up and listening.
Oh, we got something else the other day. We got a letter. And I don't know who it's from.
Somebody in town.
Because
I know. It's somebody in town. They messaged me on Twitter.
You think you know who it is?
No, I'm pretty sure I know who it is.
Okay. Well, the return address just said A Wizard.
Yeah.
And
works for the Postal Service.
There were 2 stickers in this, and
this person works for the Postal Service.
Okay.
So
one says the Dave Thomas Secret Society, Dave Thomas from Wendy's.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then the other sticker says free Wi-Fi, and it's got a QR code, and whenever you scan the QR code, you get rickrolled. So it's
that's great, right?
Yeah, it's very
great.
good stuff. Very good stuff. So Wizard, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Let me see. Let me go to it was on Twitter. Yeah. I'll let him keep his anonymity.
I'm sorry, what's Twitter?
Oh, X.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I'll let him keep his anonymity.
Yeah.
But he was getting ready to send, because he was asking me what the address was, and he was getting ready to send it to our old address before we moved to the Skyrise here. And I was like, oh yeah, and I was like, you gotta change the address on that. I was like, we're on the 21st floor of the Alico now or whatever. Yeah. And he was like, I work for the Waco Postal Service. I'll personally put it on the truck tomorrow. So he put it on the truck to come straight here. So
that's fantastic.
There you go. So we've got an insider with the Waco Postal Service.
If you want to send us an old school letter, man, please do. We're at 425 Austin Avenue, Suite 2102 here in Waco, Texas, 76701. We'd love to get letters and things from you guys. Again, I think we've got 2 fans that have outdone everybody. One was Jordan, who sent us all those Squishmallows and all kinds of cool stuff. Artie sent us all the candy in the world.
This laptop right
and
here.
that laptop.
This laptop.
Yeah. And then we had another fan, and I'm sorry, man, I don't remember your name, but I can look back and find out what it is. Sent us the entire series on DVD, which was that is an amazing gift.
Oh man, I know his name too.
Yeah,
let me look in my messages.
Amazing gift.
He should be right here, Seth. That was Seth.
Thanks, Seth. We appreciate it. But if you want to send us something, that's wonderful. We will certainly shout you out, and we appreciate all of you for being our fans. If you want to send us an email, you can do it. What is the email?
bwaakoth@gmail.com, or you could email me or Mike at our names, Mike Rusty at roguemedianetwork.com, if that's how you want to reach out to us too.
Any of those. And they can find us where?
bwaakoth.com, or you could find us at roguemedianetwork.com/bwaakoth.
That's right. And we can't thank you guys enough for hanging in with us. And thanks again. Have a great Friday, and we'll see you again on Monday.
Wimitanye.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.